Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. I'm looking forward to talking with Mark Ross Smith. Mark, it's great to connect with you, CEO at Loyalty Status Group, and you're basically helping airlines grow and manage their most valuable customers. Your website is traveldatadaily.com, and I'm looking forward to kind of connecting with you on all of this for the Think community. I always like to get started, and as a business coach, I work with people who are successful and stuck all over the globe, and I work to get them unstuck. And so I always like talking to business owners about where's a recent stuck in your business and how did you get unstuck?
John, it's great to be here. I might flip this question, actually.
And thank you for being, I know you're in Malaysia and it's midnight there, so thanks.
Prime time for me.
Right.
I think I'm going to flip this for a second, because the business StatusMatch we operate now is less than 3 years old. And we started this in the end of 2020, which is the worst time in history for global aviation. And so myself and a couple of other former airline executives, we sort of got together and we're like, how do we, in your words, how do we unstick the airline industry? Because they were totally devastated, they were totally screwed at that point. You know, end of 2020, they're bleeding staff, people are trying to find new jobs, they're cutting salaries, they're sort of really, really hurting. The whole travel industry is really hurting. So we thought, like, how do we help them? How do we bring them back from the dead? How do we, in our little piece of the world, how do we have a bit of a light that can sort of shine and help them become unstuck? Because the idea is if we help them get unstuck, it helps us as well, right? Because we're in the business. And that was really the catalyst behind starting StatusMatch, which is, helping them get new high value customers. And long story short, what's happened in the past 2.5 years is the world has awoken to something very interesting, and that is the loyalty programs for airlines, especially in North America and around the world. The loyalty programs can be worth more than the entire airline group itself, split out as its own sort of separate entity. And so we carved out a little piece of that world and help airlines get unstuck and help them sort of reignite some of the magic and the romance around travel again, and get people excited about flying and travel and freedom and seeing the world and the adventure and seeing new people and sort of have that dream again, really ignite that. And so obviously we're not responsible for the travel industry coming back, but there is a small piece there that we're going to claim fame to, and that's getting more people back onto planes in new ways.
That's great. That's great. Well, what I love about what you're talking about is helping people get unstuck by bringing back the fun, bringing back the dream, bringing back not necessarily the pain, but the happiness factor of things. And I think that's great. And so kudos to you. Kudos to you. All right, let's kind of jump into what a little bit more of this means. The magic of having somebody's dream come true, right? So somebody who's listening to this is going to say, hey, I'm on board. Mark, I'm on board. I want to travel. I want to travel the world. It feels safe again. And you're all about loyalty programs. And I think something on many people's mind is the cost of travel is so expensive. And so let's kind of get to the foundation of, what the loyalty programs that you're trying to implement are doing for the everyday flyer, the everyday hotel stayer, the everyday traveler.
Exactly. You're right. Some parts of the world ultra expensive to travel right now. And so everyone's looking for either cheaper way to fly or stay or some sort of extra perk, some sort of reward. And for a lot of folks, especially in USA, there is something like 70% of credit cards issued in the USA have a travel component. So that means you could earn miles, you could transfer to miles, you could get some sort of travel thing that's loosely related to it. And that could be that it's an airline or hotel credit card, or you could transfer miles into an airline or a hotel program. So you've got this vast number of people that are interested in travel. And yet the people that have like a silver, gold, platinum type status in airline is somewhere around 2% of people that travel. So you've got this huge group of people interested in travel, but aren't quite silver status yet. And these are what we'll call the value seekers. These are folks flying once, twice a year, maybe 3. They're not 10 or 20 times where they could get some real perks. And so the question is, how do these folks sort of get more value out of what they do? And the simple answer is credit cards and rewards. So you go out, you get the credit card, you start saving your miles, and you use your miles for your free trip or your free hotel stay. And a lot of people are using it to offset the cost. It's you've got maybe an option of 3 or 4 different airlines that you fly. You could fly to where you want to go, and you might be a platinum status member with that airline, but it's 20 grand to fly. It's like, well, it's a bit much, but you've got airline B over here, which is half the price. And suddenly, how much is loyalty really influencing your business at that point? People that are members of a loyalty program typically will pay a premium to fly or travel, engage with that brand. But there is a tipping point where they're like, well, hang on, I'd rather save $10,000 than, be, blindly loyal to my favorite brand. And so points and status and to a big extent credit cards are playing a big part in that. We launched something very interesting with Frontier Airlines a couple of months ago, where it was a credit card perk where if you had a US issued travel rewards credit card, and that covers a lot of cards, like pretty much every American Express card, you could get 20K status, which is like the base. It's kind of like a silver level with Frontier, which gets you like free carry-on bags, free check bags, I believe, security, priority, a few other things. And so what this meant is, for the first time in history, you got people that had no status with an airline could get some perks. They could get something else they otherwise couldn't get through this super, super interesting offer. So I think we're going to start to see more travel brands trying to tap into this universe of people that don't have status, but they're really interested in collecting the miles. They're very interested in loyalty, because these days it can be ultra expensive to fly. And if you can get just some little extra perk out of it, you feel like, you kind of want to get something for the prices that some of these brands are charging these days.
Yeah, no, I it sounds exciting, and it sounds like everything would be pretty custom to the clients that you work with, depending on what loyalty means to them, what they think it means to, the person utilizing their services. But I want to go back a minute and talk about 2020, right? So you have this idea, the world's basically shut down in 2020, and so where did the idea sprout from? But really, I want to kind of understand, where was the courage to launch it in a year that seemed very dark?
It was very dark, my friend.
Yeah,
for travel. To be fair, it's hard to talk to people that worked at airlines as well, because they're all working from home. A lot of them are furloughed, or they're on part-time, and they're just trying to keep their job. They're not really interested in new initiatives. They're not trying to do new stuff. So to be fair, even engaging with some of these folks was quite difficult. The concept of StatusMatch as an idea has been around for about 35 years. So it's not a new idea. No one had built a system around it. No one had sort of formalized it. It was this kind of back-end hidden process that airlines and hotels had been running. And just a quick one-on-one on how it actually works is, if you've got like a gold status of one airline over here, but you want to try a new brand, you want to try airline B over here. The idea is, if you've got gold over here, they'll give you gold status over here with a new brand, and you're matching your status match, right? So it's brand introduction, it's customer acquisition for the brand trying to get your business. Because if you're a gold member with an airline, presumably you're spending money on travel. You're a good customer. You're in the top 2-3% of global travelers in terms of spend and frequency. Brands, funny enough, want new high value customers, and so StatusMatch is a mechanism to help them get that. The idea to formalize something on this came from my experience in 2013 when I'd relocated to Hong Kong at the time, and I asked Cathay Pacific for a StatusMatch. I said, I'm super, super duper elite over here. Can you give me something here? And they said, no. It's like, why would you not want me as a customer? How dare you? So that's what kind of kickstarted the whole, building a structure around this. And, fast forward a few years, now we're working with, 8 big airlines around the world, helping them acquire new customers in a sort of a systematic way. But actually, this helps people as well. It helps, If you got gold status for one airline, why would you not want another gold status for someone else?
Yeah.
Just check it out, because you get all the perks straight off the bat.
Right. But you're sitting here, I just want to go back to this, but you're sitting in 2020 ready to launch a business where you know there's a market, but it is, the market, I don't think anybody knew how it was going to ultimately, be or change or go back to how it was, right? And so where was the courage to jump in?
So the courage came out of, I believe it was United Airlines at the time, was raising funds to obviously keep the airline alive, and they were seeking government loans. And so they'd use their loyalty program as collateral to secure a federal loan. And so the Mileage Plus loyalty program was valued at somewhere, I think it was about $25 billion, which was about 3 times the value of the entire group at the time. Keep that in mind. And everyone's like, why are they worth so much? And I think it was a $5 billion loan they'd secured off the back of that. So there was a lot of focus on loyalty as opposed to airline operational stuff like selling tickets. That sort of fell by the side a bit. And it's all about this loyalty program thing. And why is it worth so much? We got so much focus within an airline. It was a bit easier to pitch them with new ideas around that topic, because it was such a, suddenly the CFO, the board, all shareholders, like they're all getting like, how do we leverage this loyalty thing that we have that we've never really taken all that seriously? And it's all got to do with the type of revenue that loyalty programs generate versus the type of revenue that airline selling tickets basically generate. Selling seats is low margin revenue, somewhere between 2 and 10% is margin on a seat. Whereas loyalty revenue, which is selling points and miles, effective banks, is can be anywhere from 50 to 80% margin. And so it's different type of money. Therefore, it attracted different type of attention. It attracts different type of valuations and the way that these loyalty programs are valued in the market. And so we saw an opportunity to align elite status and acquiring new customers, because if you acquire new customers, more customers are going to own more miles. That's going to drive up valuation, which means you can increase, get more loans, more valuation, all this kind of stuff, all the great metrics. So it was a bit of a no-brainer, really, that one to do something in that space, just because of all the attention at the time and still today that these airline loyalty programs are generating.
I like it. Thank you for that. Thank you. Let's fast forward to how other businesses outside of airlines can kind of adopt this type of loyalty mentality, right? So how does, from your perspective, maybe the everyday business incorporate some level of this, some energy of this into their business?
This is an 8-hour podcast. I'm glad. Let's take a step back. Airlines have a lot of things going for them, and it's very complex. They've obviously got planes fly through the sky. They're effectively selling aspirational travel when it comes to loyalty, and on the other side is taking the pain out of flying, because sometimes it can be not that great. So caveat, not every business should have a loyalty program. For some business, it makes no sense at all. For example, there's a really nice Japanese restaurant down the road from me, and I love this place. I totally love it. It's very expensive. Every time I go in there, they say, would you like to join our loyalty program? Just enter your cell number here and we'll send you a thing. We'll send you discounts, a birthday offer, all this kind of stuff. And every time I say no thanks, and here I am living and breathing loyalty every day, and I'm saying no to joining a loyalty program. It's because they've got such great service, such a great, food, the vibe, everything they offer there. They don't, in my mind, they don't need a loyalty program. They don't need some sort of offering. And by offering discounts, in my mind, it's actually underpinning everything else. I mean, not underpinning it. It takes away some of the value that I believe that they offer through this incredible service, the really nice food, the vibe, the atmosphere that they have there. And so, for example, what could my local Japanese restaurant learn from airline loyalty? It's probably not to have a loyalty program, but that's actually the biggest learning there. But, in airlines, there's 2 parts to it. You've got the points and miles, which airlines typically sell to banks and third parties as a way to drive cash flow. And then you've got the status portion of it, which is your silver, gold, platinum, and that comes with perks. And so the status part actually drives the core product, which is ticket sales or room nights for a hotel. And so what could a retail business, for example, learn from that is that there's actually multiple parts to this. Airlines talk a lot about gamification in loyalty programs, and this effectively comes from games. Like there's a lot there's a lot. I wouldn't look at airlines what to learn. I'd look at computer games and what to learn from there, because they're just off the charts on terms of getting people addicted, and the multiple currencies and the levels and the badges and all sorts of stuff. They're actually, I think it's actually airlines are learning from the gaming industry. And so, if anyone's looking at it, go, what could we learn from airlines? Because they're worth all this money and the loyalty. I should just shortcut it. Just go straight to the computer game industry.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, there is a gamification of things that I think people really, they love it, right? It's like you spend X more dollars, you get X amount of miles, you get more loyalty, et cetera, et cetera. It's great. All right, let's do a quick speed round. A book, Mark, that's had the biggest impact on you.
Blue Ocean Strategy.
That's a great one. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received.
Fail well.
Yeah. And finish this sentence. One thing everybody can do to just retain more clients because of whatever loyalty program you have is.
One way to retain more clients. Think and be a customer of your own product, because then you understand exactly what they want. You don't have to do focus groups and stuff.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. Mark, I really appreciate you being on the show. I love this podcast because I'm a business coach. I work with people all over the globe who are successful but stuck, and I work to get them and keep them unstuck. And I get to have guests like you to provide guidance on how they can also get unstuck. And so if I can extract one thing that you said a lot of great things today, but I love what you said at the very end, right? Be a customer of your own so you can really kind of get the feel and the vibe from every angle. Think Community, we've talked a little bit about this in the past on past episodes. I talk about this with my clients as well, which is when you do that, you see things with different eyes, you hear things with different ears, you go through different senses. It's really, really, really strong advice. Mark, tell everybody where they can connect with you and who your ideal clients are.
Connect me on LinkedIn, quite active there. Check out StatusMatch.com. Our ideal clients are anyone that travels, that have an interest in travel, check out StatusMatch.com. And if you happen to work for an airline or hotel, please hit me up.
All right. Mark, I appreciate it. And Think Community, you can reach me at jondwoskin.com. Mark, this was great. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Cheers, John.
Cheers.